Grab some pizza. All right, everyone, take a seat. We'll grab some pizza and we'll get started here. Welcome to the .NET User Group of Spokane. Thanks for everyone for coming out. As always, this meetup is sponsored by Intelitech. That's the office we're in here. We will be meeting not next month, but the month after, just like previously, every other month now. Today we're going to be hearing from Reese about some smart components. Next time, Kevin is going to be going over the different iterations of C# and some of the features that have come and gone and the reason they have. So excited for that, but I'll send out a meetup invite and we'll get started. If there is any feedback on things that you would like to see in the .NET User Group, continue to reach out to me. My emails, you can email either dan.olvera@intelitech.com or I've dropped the other email, that's my personal one, in the meetup. So if you have feedback or want to see different things, yeah, please give me some feedback. But I won't take any more time. So Reese, why don't you get started? Let's do smart components.
All right.
Make sure your mic's unmuted.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's on. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Cool. All right. All right. Thanks for coming. Yeah. So haven't done a .NET meetup before, so hopefully this goes well. It's April Fool's Day. Hopefully it'll be sort of funny, some of the things that I show you, but we'll see. Yeah. So smart components. What are smart components? We're going to talk about what they are, why the concept is there, how to use them in Blazor in this case. You can also use them in ASP.NET MVC, and they might, if the experiment continues, they might add support for other clients or implementations as well. And then I'm going to do a demo and then a summary. So the slides aren't a ton of the content. It's mostly going to be code and stuff that I'm going to show you. Excuse me. So what are smart components? So the smart components is basically it's an experiment that the .NET team is doing to provide a way to abstract the AI services away from your UI and then give you the ability to take advantage of the latest AI stuff in your existing UIs and maybe even your new ones. And they created an open source library to sort of showcase what it is. And there's 3 components that I'll talk about that they have. And I'm going to show off 2 of them that I got working in the demo app. And so we'll see that here in a little bit. Might show real quick. Does this show my screen? Oh, no. Sorry. I got to escape that. Right. Hopefully they can see my screen on the other thing too. Yeah. So I wanted to show, this is the repo the .NET Smart Components are in. Here you can go and find out all the information as well as get the source code that you can use to reference in your projects. Right now it's like source code only. They don't have any NuGet packages or DLLs or that kind of stuff. It's just, if you want to use it, you basically just get the code and reference the project, which you'll see in my demo later. So what's included is the 3 different components. So they have like some little animations here that kind of give an idea. So one example is a smart paste where, so they're showing like from an email, somebody gets an email and it has address information. And instead of having the user having to type all that in and transfer it from the email into the form, you can just copy it to your buffer and then smart paste it in and magic happens. That's the whole AI part of it. And then there's a text area one that'll give you sort of intelligent prompts to help out. Like one scenario is like you're a customer service representative and for your company, you want, instead of having to tell the people, here's exactly what we want you to say and this kind of thing, and here's all our links to our documentation, our website or stuff, you can actually add that into the smart text area and it'll sort of allow them to auto-complete some of the information that maybe they forgot to tell the customer about or be able to get links and stuff like that. You can kind of see that example here, like for their policies. and then there's this concept of a smart combo box. So basically, they're taking existing controls, right, in a web controls like combo box, text area, and then the ability to paste, and then just sort of augmenting it a little bit with some calls to AI services in the background. Another option, or another thing that the smart combo box uses is this local embeddings, so that you can get sort of semantic matching. So you can see that, like, an example is they type in cat and then pet care comes out of the list, but cat's not really in the list. And I'll show that a little more in the example I have. And so yeah, there's the code for that. They have a few different getting started in their documentation kind of links. The local embedding ones was pretty good. It kind of talks way more in details about how to get the embeddings to work, and even an example of, like, if you wanted to take your existing entities in your database and, like, add information for the embeddings in there, how to do that with like an extra column. I can't remember the exact details. We could look at it if people were interested, but basically like a way to add in the vectors that you need because it's like you vectorize it. I'm not a .NET expert or an AI expert, so one of the things that I wanted to mention is I kind of use this talk to learn about a lot of these things too. So if it doesn't sound like I'm a total expert, then that's the reason. And I also encourage other people to do that. So you don't have to be a total expert to do a talk like this. Pretty much anybody can do it, which I think is a good way to kind of push yourself and learn new things and come up to speed on some of the latest technologies. And then, so let me get back to my presentation real quick here. Just going to talk through a little more here. Yeah, there's the open source library, and then. So why smart components? You can imagine you're trying to keep up with the latest AI enhancements. The people are like, it's the latest buzz everywhere, right? We're AI-ifying everything, or however you say that. And your business might be saying, how do we keep competing with these other people that already have all this AI stuff? We don't have time to rewrite our application from scratch, and that kind of thing. And so you shouldn't have to do that. And this is kind of a way to be able to use your existing code base, like in this case, Blazor or ASP.NET, and then create some components where you can slowly add in features and not have to replace your full application with the latest stuff. Or maybe you just want to, you just want to abstract away all the AI craziness, right? Because it's changing so often. And maybe today you're using Azure, but maybe tomorrow you want to use Google for their AI, or maybe you have to use a combination of different ones. And so this allows you these smart components would allow you to easily switch out the clients and talk to different services, AI for AI model as a service kind of services. Okay, and then, so kind of talk about how to use these smart components. As I mentioned, there's a open source project, and we looked at the getting started. Go through that a little more in detail before I did this extension library that's in preview that Microsoft's. This is kind of part of it. I actually worked on a PR for the smart components project, I guess, or the open source project. Long story short, they had an issue where they wanted to update, because they were using like their own inference backend interface and some code that they had done before this extensions AI library came out. And so there was an issue on the repo to go upgrade that. So I actually thought, hey, what if I could, as part of this talk, to kind of get a better understanding of what the smart components are and how to use them, if I a PR on this and get it to go through. I got one, and it's out there. They had like one review on it, and I'd made some changes, but oh, it's not. I was going to show that. Sorry. I just wanted to show the screen. Yeah. Anyways, it was issue number 38, update to use the AI abstractions library. I'm looking at a different screen. So. Didn't realize that one wasn't looking at it. But so yeah, it's that I could get this PR to go through. It took me a while to kind of get it to work, mainly because I didn't write the code myself, and luckily they had like a bunch of end-to-end tests, and so I was confident that if I could get the thing to run and compile, that even if I don't really know anything about this library, not only the AI abstractions library or the smart components library, that I should be able to do the issue, create the PR, get the test to run, and everything should be going good. So I did that, and it hasn't been approved yet or whatever, but it's out there. So yeah, anyways, I guess that was the thing I was going to say too, is like, it seems like everybody's using open source stuff these days, right? It's like, it used to be when I was younger in my career, or earlier in my career, the open source was kind of new, and it was like, maybe we'll use it, maybe we won't, and people didn't contribute to it. But it feels like everybody's using it now, so it's almost like as developers, we almost are obligated, maybe not obligated, but like at some point you might want to try to contribute to an open source project if you can. So I thought it was a good experience. It was the first time for me, so yeah, anyways, I thought I'd throw it out there for people. So I guess I don't really need to, whoops, sorry. I was just going to go to the demo one. So yeah, I'm going to do a demo and show off some of the code. So let's do that. And yeah, feel free to ask questions or whatever, and interrupt me too, if you want, at any point. So, the other part I was going to talk about is so part of the PR I did was using this new Microsoft Extensions AI library. It's actually, there's a bunch of information out there, but it is in preview. I'll go back to that real quick. But so yeah, this is kind of I thought this was a good graphic of what where it sits inside the application stack, I guess. So you can see it's kind of like pretty low level as far as where it would fit, and then it kind of centers, at least right now, it kind of centers around this concept of a chat client, because mostly how we interact with these things is like you send it some question or some text, and then it responds with more text or an image or video or whatever it is. So yeah, anyways, this is kind of where it would sit. So if you wanted to create your own chat client, you would just implement this iChat client interface, and away you go. And then yeah, you can dig into this in more depth yourself. But basically, they've got all how to work with it, how to use it. And then I did want to note, since it's kind of in preview, I guess there's this note here about future implementations of their respective client libraries, rather than requiring you to use specific ones that they made. And I think they're trying to get people to other companies or authors, library authors, or people that are making controls to try to use the same common abstraction, so that as an industry we can slowly get closer to being able to use AI services easier and easier.
Do you do a timeline for these things? Because it feels like a lot of Microsoft preview is kind of, especially for AI, it's like, we will do this, maybe, eventually, kind of. And if that's the answer, that's fine. I was just interested if you had heard anything or seen anything.
Repeat the question.
And then repeat the question, yeah.
Oh yeah, sorry. So yeah, we had a question from the audience. Do I know what the timeline is for the preview? And because sometimes these experiments don't go anywhere, and then how confident are we that this is going to actually turn into something real that people will use? I don't know exactly. It might mention it in here because it does say preview right there. I didn't really see any exact timelines or anything, but they might have something out there. But I do feel like this is pretty solid, because they're actually creating NuGet packages and things. It seems like it's solid. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else knows or has heard of it before. So.
Generally, I think the rule is if it's public preview, there's a decent chance, no guarantee. But
It's a
Yeah,
public
well,
preview probably.
Historically, Microsoft GAs things at the next big conference, so Build and Ignite generally tend to be a time when things that were preview go GA.
Oh, okay, so maybe at the next big Ignite or Build conference?
Build
Yeah,
is
well,
next
Build
month.
is in a couple of weeks, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
6-ish weeks, something like that,
Middle of
May.
May, something May 19th through 22nd, don't quote me.
Okay. So yeah, it might be coming out soon. Oh yeah, on
You know,
this.
that,
Oh,
as
go ahead.
compared to like library, right? So that's sort of an experiment at this point, right? We don't know what's gonna happen with that library, but the components are still usable,
Yeah,
right?
right.
But it's not even, it's just a project at this point, right? So we don't know what's gonna happen there. Maybe it keeps going, maybe it doesn't. Of course, Blazor started as a Sanderson experiment. So,
As well, yeah, now it's
who
mainstream.
knows?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention on here, yeah, is it talks about the iChat client interface, which is if you were going to create your own client, that's the interface that you would implement. And then they have examples on, like, here's a sample implementation. I don't know if there's anything super notable. I mean, it's pretty basic so far. It's like there's a get response function you implement, and then there's one for streaming. And that's pretty much it. You give it the endpoint, the model ID you want, and then that stuff's configured, in your settings file or whatever. And then, yeah, away you go. So I think that was it on this page I wanted to show. Oh, yeah, they do have other concept of being able to like use different things. So you can use tooling, because there's some like, I guess, like being able to call a tool, caching the responses because it's expensive, having to so you know what's going on, happening between the service and the client and the server. And then there's some options and different functionality pipelines. You could explore that yourself. But down here, a little ways farther, sorry, it kind of gives you an example of, yeah, you could, create a chat client and then use it with distributed cache or rate limiting, add the telemetry, that kind of stuff. So it's sort of the similar builder pattern. Yeah, and then for the demo, I might use my glasses actually. The code, yeah, you can see, yeah, this is the code for the Smart Components project, and I'm actually looking at the one that I forked to include the iChat client. And in this one, it didn't really matter. So this one is since it's an example or a test app, kind of how they structured it, I guess. You can see there's two different main sample apps for MVC. The other thing, I guess, that it was kind of notable was there's a bunch of end-to-end tests for the different versions, and there's a test. As part of the PR that I worked on, get this all working again, so that a chat client, so that it could actually run some of the tests and things. One of the interesting things that they had was, and so, first, base classes they recommend. There's one's just basic chat client, but there's this one which is basically delegate. And this one, because of the way that they developed this library with the end-to-end test, so that you can basically run this in a CI/CD pipeline, they created this kind of a response cache concept. And then up here, they kind of talk about the different reasons that they did this. And I thought it allows you to not have to have your keys and your CI There's no, randomness or network failures. And then also it's because you're not hitting the real like development time to say, oh, I've gotten my code far enough along to where I got some real responses. Now I'm just going to cache them and then continue development and not having to incur the cost of hitting the actual services until you get to a point where you're ready for production or something. PR ended up implementing that using this delegating chat client because all I mainly needed to do was in the get response just add some similar code that they had in the original one that I changed, where basically, yeah, if you're in debug mode, it's going to try to get it from the cache and set it to the cache. So that was kind of interesting. Another thing. So I think I have the right project to see. Yeah. So the example real fast. That thought was interesting regarding the the local embeddings part. So yeah, here you can see the different, they have examples for the different components. If you don't have the real AI stuff connected, the paste and the text area don't work. But this combo box uses like these embeddings. One of the things I thought was interesting here is they have like this test things, and gives you the similarity to the last. As you go along, and I don't know. For me, I thought it was just kind of interesting. You kind of see the similarity between the things. So test it out and see that the embeddings are doing what doing the right thing or whatever. And that actually runs like a Onyx model that they have checked into the repo, and then you just copy it into your, like for the example I did, I just copied it into my and started working. So that was actually pretty easy to do.
How big was the model? How big is the model, do you know? Not big enough for you to care.
Not very big, yeah, like maybe a couple megabytes, 30 megabytes, I don't, yeah. I could look, I mean, I could find that. Okay, I could show you later. Okay. Object. I was going to get to is this demo I have. And if people just let me know. Let me look at this here. So basically all I did was create, I kind of went off their, hold on, sorry. This here, they're getting, just kind of followed this. It's pretty basic. It was easy to do. That smart components, like I said, right now you just have to kind of check it out. Check out the repo and then reference it from your project, or copy it over if you wanted to. I just referenced it directly. Anyways, and then smart components and the whole configure the back end part. You don't really need to do anymore because that was part of the change that I made. But if they're going to do my PR, we're going to have to update the documentation too. I noticed because this part of it, some of this configuration doesn't make sense anymore because that OpenAI backend was code that they wrote that kind of went away with the abstract. So, anyways. Okay. One of the things I tried to do was add in foolish text to work, so I thought that was kind of fun. But let me show you the basics. So yeah, I created a new Blazor web application, and then I only really needed to include these two projects and reference them from my website or web project in order to get all this to work and for the components to run. So I don't know if there's much more to talk about right there other than I'll show you what it looks like. Super exciting, but oh, the other part was the configuration of it. So in addition to the adding the referencing the projects, there was a few things. I wanted to actually add more configuration, and they had a way to, for the area component, basically subclass it and have your own. And I'll show that part of the code here in a little bit. But so that's what that registration is for that component. And then you tell it, and you need to, if you're going to use that, they also have one for the smart paste. They have a smart paste inference one too. And you can basically gives you just more configuration control. And it also, I'll talk about that in a minute when I get to that part. Yeah, so then you say add smart components. You'd want to register your if you subclass those other components inferences before you call this. It talks about that. So note that we use for the embeddings part of it. So you add that, and then this is part of the abstractions library where you can just say the chat client. And in this case, I'm using an Azure OpenAI. And away you go. And then, so yeah, down here, one of the things, so the embeddings they talked about, like you could compute these up front. In this case, it's super simple because I just have a list of strings that I want to create inferences or not like the semantic matching for. So, for example, you'll see in a minute when I go to type in stuff in the combo box, I can type in like dog and it'll bring back pet care or other things that are sort of semantically related, but that aren't in the list actually. I thought that part was interesting. So you could also, this could be a lot more, this is a pretty simple example, but a lot more in-depth. You could store them in a database and load them and have it be out of process, not in the startup code, particularly, I guess. Demo, obviously. So, and then like one of the things with the controls is how do you get the smart combo box to talk to your AI service? Well, and I think they have one. I didn't set up the smart paste one, but I believe they have mapping for that too. So in this case, it's just going to be, hey, when this API gets called, here's the request. And you can imagine that would probably be on a different server, not locally in the same program file in a more realistic scenario. So, like, and like you can see that like dog's not in here and that kind of stuff. So that's I thought I'd just kind of show that. And for some reason it comes back with pet care, but cats didn't carry. I couldn't. Even though auto is not actually, it feels like a lot of issues with that, where people don't necessarily know exactly what they're looking for. They kind of know what they're looking for, and this helps you kind of have a better user experience. And in this case, it's not even that control doesn't actually go out to the internet or out to a AI model server. That's using the local embeddings that you already created yourself in memory in this case, but.
There's no excuse combo boxes that have a list of 100 items that you have to go scroll down and pick one.
Yeah.
There was never an excuse.
Oh, there's really not. Yeah.
Like the state of Washington, I have to scroll through 20.
How many states there are now?
Yeah, I was actually born after it's hard to believe, but after the last state made the union, not by a lot, but
That's a good point. I wasn't. Oh, I was going to say, should I have read or said your question or over the thing? I don't know if it matters.
No,
Yeah. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Um, I made this be like a foolish. Stuff. And so then so it's helping me out with different suggestions. So anyways, yeah, I thought it was pretty interesting that none of those things are actually in my to start typing something and then it's sort of helping me. And you can give it the context, like I gave it a user role. Markup of the code and the actual component. In this case, for this role of this thing or this text area that you're going to talk to, and how does it during a meeting that often shouts April Fools. That was in the added this comment. This is from their help, their documentation. But basically, is it a little more voice of how is it going to respond? Kind of gives you that feeling of almost like a real person, what their role is. I'm a cowboy, or in this case, I'm a fool. So that was pretty. So like one other example is you could have in links, because they talked about like if you're an insurance agent or something, you want to like not have to have all these links like available for the people to paste. They could be provided as as suggestions to help the user out. The customer service rep or the insurance agent or whoever there. I think that was it. So yeah, you can kind of see here the combo box. It's like you give it a URL. This thing are going anywhere, right? It's just catching it and then returning the request right there. But you could, maybe their server that's outside of this project. Okay. I think that was pretty much it as far as the code goes. Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
With the user phrases, is that phrases or is it you give it? Is that a configuration option?
I'll go back over here. Sorry. So what can you? Oh yes. Again, sorry.
Yeah, with the user phrases, is it just that statically determined list? Is there a way to make that dynamic? Will it ever give you phrases outside of this list?
Oh yeah. Okay. So yeah. Sorry. The question was, will the response ever include other phrases besides this? And yeah, it does. We can. There was one or two in there. These are sort of just like examples of how it would respond. So sometimes it does use them, but it'll also, it's actually going out to, all the way to Azure land or whatever and asking the model to come up with something and then it comes back. So yeah, that's the dynamic part, I guess. Look for, and so it says, and sanity, it's in here.
And even the second was new. The second.
Yeah, that one was in there, I think.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That one was straight out of there, it looks like. I sometimes wonder, yeah. Some of these, I just got these off the internet. These are like some phrases or whatever.
So you had an AI generate things for the AI.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, well, and so we could do another test. Yeah, just to kind of show that. But one example right there. I spelled it wrong, but there's a couple more, right, where it says in the land. Yeah. So these none of these were in that list. Any other questions, or hopefully I answered your question.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you.
So not a lot of code.
The components are straightforward to use. Even and I haven't, I mean, this for me, just preparing for this, I guess, is kind of what I meant. This is pretty much, let's just, so yeah, that's the demo. Oh yeah, so then just in summary, I feel like it's going to be, even if this experiment kind of doesn't go anywhere, the idea of a smart component, right, seems like it's something that, whether it's .NET or Java or Python, it doesn't matter the language. It feels like that idea of an abstraction from a UI component or control perspective of I want to add new AI features and augment my application. How am I going to do that? And an easy way, it seems like, is to use this kind of a pattern or architecture. So, so I thought that was something that's probably not going away anytime soon. I feel like it's just going to get more momentum as time goes on. And so, yeah, they are trying to get feedback. So if anybody's interested or they wanted to try these out or use them themselves, don't forget to provide feedback somehow, either to their open source project or online, however that is.
Do you know if right now it's just the 3 components? Do they have other components that they're saying they want to, we'd like to do one of these, but they just haven't around to talk around that?
I haven't heard anything like that yet. And
Issues on the like on the repo, and again, I'm wondering how like 6 issues, probably not a lot of traffic. I'm wondering how much code there really is in that repo to get this implemented. Wrapping.
yeah, they're not a. And you probably see these are the issues. Support.NET
What?
framework.
What's going on?
Looked at it, but yeah.
If you look at the author there, that's Steve Sanderson, so he's the creator of the repo.
Yeah,
So
yeah, he wrote most of the
that's a
code.
self-report issue, not a external request from somebody.
But somebody did pick up the request and didn't finish it, right? Is that what happened?
This one?
Yeah, that's the one you have a PR for, right?
Yeah. John Holloway or
Galloway?
oh, John Galloway, yeah. Yeah.
Got too busy hurting
The
.NET. What is he still like out of well, it should say what is
product manager of the .NET community team, part of the hurting code.
But he was on the Microsoft funds group that Shepard's open source .NET projects for a while, but I'm
Oh,
not,
really?
you know, I don't know. Is that part of what he does as part of the .NET community team?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So they'll take on, yeah, they'll take on Shepherd open source. Copyright, I can't remember for some reason. Never mind.
.NET part of the .NET family?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's not dying. The foundation just is not really accomplishing its stated goals.
Ah. Okay. Oh, so yeah, there was one last thing. Why I wouldn't go to that. So I just put these resources out, got them later. These are kind of the things that I ran across when I was doing the research. One of them, this last one is AWS. One I had was to try to get this to work with an AWS client and maybe make my own chat client version using their library or something. Yeah, like the Bedrock services.
Yeah, Bedrock.
Yeah, to use that as the back end instead of Azure. But I ran out of time. I couldn't get it to work. But this this .NET FM playground is basically, FM stands for foundation model. It's like a app that they made, that Amazon made, to be able to showcase how to use their Bedrock services and some similar type things that you saw in there. In the app, even though I could use the AWS CLI to make requests to the Bedrock service and get responses, I just couldn't get IDs. Part of it with AWS anyways is you have to go and like configure access to the model that you're going to use. I'd done that and stuff. Yeah, I got it to work from the API. But it was a pretty interesting playground because they had like voice chat and text chat and a bunch of other different kinds of things there. If anybody wanted to see what the UI looked like, I could go look at it or something. Yeah, so I just wanted to mention that. Yeah, besides Microsoft, you can do this stuff, as using other cloud providers as well. And I think that idea is the abstraction allows you to code. I think so.
Nice job, Reese.
All right, thanks. Thanks.
Okay, thanks again, Reese. Great talk, and we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right, thanks.
Nice job, Reese.
Yeah, thanks.
Killed it.
That's where you're going.